Welcome to the InHer Circle podcast with MsHoliness, bringing you a dose of inspiration from the ground to greatness, starting now.
Welcome, people of purpose. This is the InHer Circle podcast, episode 2, entitled, Do It Anyway. Yes, do it anyway. I am MsHoliness, and I am so happy that you all decided to tune in with me for a dose of inspiration. But before we segue over into today's segment, I would just like to do a recap of episode 1. So for episode 1, we had the awesome and amazing actress and writer Akiba Robinson. And she dropped by to drop some jewels on us, you guys. Who all was here and was able to catch episode 1? I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed having her here as a featured guest. The one thing that stood out for me the most during that episode was how she advised us all as people of purpose to stay consistent and persistent when pursuing our goals. And likewise, and in turn, to be ready. Always be ready, because you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. And like I suggested, stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. Okay? So, for today's episode 2, do it anyway. Yes, do it anyway. So what is this do it anyway that I am talking about? I'm talking about pursuing your purpose in spite of any fear or anything that may be trying to hold you back. Any inhibitions. Rather, it's something that you have convinced yourself of. Rather, it's something that a person has convinced you of. You know, like somebody per se told you couldn't do it, you weren't capable of doing it, and you would never get it done. I want you guys to dispel that fear today. I no longer want you to move in fear when it comes to pursuing the purpose that is laying on the inside of you. I can remember a couple of years ago, a few years back, I did a talk at an event, at a Gold Friends event. And it was the first event of its kind, okay? And essentially the talk that I did was entitled, Do It Anyway. And it kind of talked about doing it scared, doing it afraid, doing it when you're uncertain, doing it when no one is supporting you, doing it when all of the odds are stacked against you, doing it when you feel boxed in, do it when you're figuring everything out as you go. To even do it when it feels impossible. To even do it when it feels impossible. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? A lot of times when you are fearful of pursuing purpose, it's because something great is on the other side of that fear. So fear essentially comes to cripple you in hopes of robbing you of pursuing the dream, in hopes of causing you not to bring the vision to fruition. Do you hear what I'm saying to you people of purpose on today? So that's why it's important to do it anyway. For instance, when it came to me speaking publicly, I had been scared to speak publicly since I was a child. But because it had become a passion of mine, and because I did desire to speak publicly so that I could get in front of the masses and inspire you to a degree, I had to take that leap of faith and move past a place of fear. You know how they have that saying on social media, faith over fear. I understood after a while that there was a power and a presence that I possessed on the inside of me that was steeped in greatness. And that as long as I tried and gave it my best effort, I had the ability to become great. I had the ability to release and unleash the power and the prowess and the ability to speak proficiently and to inspire you guys to take your lives from the ground to good, and from good to great, and from great to greatness, as I always suggest. So today I just wanted to give you this dose of inspiration so that you can in turn begin to tap in to the power that you harness down on the inside. So if there is anything that you have been afraid to get started with, after this dose of inspiration, you'll be inspired to get started on your best self right here, right now. For there is no better time like the present. No better time like the present. And though you may be afraid and there are those uncertainties, you'll have enough courage and enough strength to trust that what you possess on the inside is enough. And that the dream is possible. And that the vision can be made manifest. and that you can materialize anything that you have envisioned for your life. You can materialize it and see it come to pass and bring it to fruition. And you can do so in excellence according to the greatness that you possess on the inside. Did you know that there was a measure of greatness on the inside of all of us? Even if you haven't known that to date, I need for you to get this in your spirits. See, when you were created uniquely and instinctually. You have a measure of greatness in you that will give you the ability to do anything that your mind can fathom to do. See, greatness really starts in the mind. It really does. If you believe you can do a thing, it's already done. What you accomplish throughout your life hinges upon your mind and your will. That's why you have to believe that you can do it and then tap into the prowess that you possess and the power that you harness on the inside in order to will a thing to happen. In order to will a thing to happen. In other words, in order to get it done. So what is that dream that you've been allowing to lay dormant? What is that vision that you've been delaying and not bringing to pass? What are some of the goals that you have written down that you have not yet accomplished? Like, what are they? Think about them to date. And when you think about them, you will find that the only thing that has been holding you back essentially is fear. But it's time for you to do it anyway. It's time for you to do it scared, okay? It's time for you to do it afraid. It's actually even time for you to take that fear and harness it and turn it into a power. Turn it into a power and a presence that will help you to begin to overcome any and every obstacle that you have placed in your own life. Because at the core of things, fear is an obstacle that we place within our own paths. It really is. And you have to learn to move past that place so that you can stop building these blockades, these barriers, so to speak, and these obstacles in your life so that you can begin to walk thereon upon your path to purpose so that you can become great and see the greatness that is on the inside of you begin to manifest in a more excellent way. So right now we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back.
And now a word from our sponsors. Nerd Boy Rich Clothing for your hottest urban streetwear. MHW Creations, servicing all your literary needs. And Ace the Weave Doctor, hair extensions done right. For sponsorship opportunities, inquire within. And now back to the program.
So yes, you all, we are back and we're talking about doing it anyway, so that you can begin to walk your path to purpose and see the dream materialize, see the vision come to fruition, and see the goals be actualized so that you can live your very best life. And as I like to say, your very blessed life. So it's essentially just time for you to have enough faith and belief in the power that you do possess on the inside, and the prowess and ability that you have, relying on your own strength to endeavor to get everything done that has been placed down on the inside of you to do. Because I mean, really, what if I had let fear grip me and I had never endeavored to begin to be that proficient speaker that I desired to be? What if I had let fear grip me and I would have never endeavored to become a writer and an author? Essentially, what if I had let fear grip me and I never accomplished any of the things that I had been purposed to do in life? As a matter of fact, if I had done so, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today at the InHer Circle podcast. So this is one of the endeavors that was placed down on the inside of me to do. I had this witty idea that I should start a podcast, one of inspirational proportions, where not only would I come and inspire you, but in turn, I would invite other people of purpose who have greatness within them, who are walking their paths to purpose and who have pushed past fear and are essentially living out their wildest dreams. Okay, so how many of you have ever envisioned something for your life that just doesn't seem obtainable? How many? I know that was some of you who had your hand raised. I've even been in that step before where I felt like, oh, I'll never be able to do this. I have. I think we all been there a time or two. But it wasn't until I decided to try that thing that I thought that I wasn't going to be capable of doing that I actually got it done. And in essence, I was able to do a thing. That's why I said it all starts with faith and belief. It all starts in the mind. Because I thought I couldn't do it for a space, it wasn't getting done. But as soon as I decided that I would have enough faith and possess enough bravery to actually try a thing, that's when I was able to get it accomplished. I believe that we all have the fortitude to bring to pass everything that we have been purposed to bring to pass in this lifetime. It's just a matter of giving yourself a yes. It's just a matter of listening to your inner self and trusting and believing that you can and you will. That you can and you will. Because if you don't believe in you, who else is going to believe in you? If you don't begin to live out your dream, essentially you'll watch everyone else live out all of their dreams and do everything that they have been called and purposed to do. And you'll just sit idly by, living in fear, never having accomplished any of the things that you have been called to accomplish. And how sucky would that be? Very. So for that cause, I want you all to endeavor to do it anyway. If you have a witty idea, an invention, if you have anything that you desire to do, go out there and get it done. You possess everything on the inside that you need to get started on your best self today. You really do. You possess everything on the inside that you need to get started living the dream today. The dream is possible, but you just have to get started. There's this saying, you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started in order to ever be great. And though you possess greatness on the inside of you, if you never unleash it, which means if you never begin to operate in that greatness, you'll never know how great you could have become or what could have been. And essentially, that's what happens to a dream deferred when you live in fear. And what happens to a dream deferred? It dies until you decide to cause it to live. So essentially, the dream lives. So as long as you choose to give it life. So we have to give it life. We have to make a choice to get it done and to do it anyway, despite any circumstances. You know, so many times, not only can we allow other people to talk us out of living out our purpose and bringing the visions to fruition and seeing the dream be possible, but we in turn talk ourselves out of it. We do, through living in fear. So today, I want you to hear me clear. And when I say hear me clear, crystal clear as crystal. I need you to hear me clear, and I want you to know that right here, right now, in this season, that it is time for you to move past every fear and every inhibition that has been holding you back and do it anyway. Do it anyway and get it done, but don't get it done while wearing a bonnet, people, or pajamas outside. Which brings us to our hot button topic on today. So I know you guys have probably seen this whole bonnet controversy all over social media, which I think is très bizarre, like I like to say. It was kind of like a thing where Monique, you know who Monique is, Nikki from the Parkers, Monique the comedian and actress. And she had a valid point, you guys. So before I kind of explain what went on, I want you to know that I felt like her point was very valid. So there was a thing when she was out working, she was on the road and she was like at the airport, and she saw like tons of women walking through the airport. And when I say women, I'm talking about women of color, women who look like myself, in bonnets and in PJs and slippers, those furry slippers, I presume, and like wrapped in blankets. And essentially, she just wanted to know, like, why are we outside wearing bonnets everywhere? She said she see people at the market in bonnets. She's seen people here. She's seen people there. She is seeing people everywhere in bonnets. And personally, I have the thought of Monique, okay? I say to each his own, but at the same time, I also feel like you should be presentable. Presenting your best self at all times, because you never know when you're going to be met with an opportunity. You never know who you're going to meet while ambulating to and fro, going here and going there. There was a time when my late grandmother had this very conversation with my sister. She was like, you need to start getting dressed when you go outside. You never know who you're going to bump into. She didn't have to give me the conversation. Because like I said, I like to stay ready so that I don't have to get ready. But you absolutely need at all times to always present your best self, especially when you are a person operating in purpose. Because like my grandmom suggested, and like Monique suggested, you never know what opportunity is going to be laying in wait for you. And if a person comes across you and you look like you just crawled out of bed, they may in turn pass you by. And it could be a missed moment based off of your appearance. Because believe it or not, wealthy people are still into appearances. Believe it or not, people operating in purpose are still into appearances. So you have to always make sure that you are presenting your best self to the world. That concludes our talk for today. Thank you for joining me for episode 2 of the InHer Circle podcast entitled Do It Anyway. With questions and comments, text 484-393-2730. Keyword the InHer Circle Live. To connect with the InHer Circle, follow us on Instagram at the InHer Circle, on Twitter at the InHer Circle _ on Facebook at the InHer Circle Podcast. And for sponsorship opportunities, email at inhercirclepodcast@gmail.com. Well, this is MsHoliness signing out. I look forward to you joining me for the next episode where I aspire to lift you higher.